Welcome to Transit Talk, Human Design Transits, Real Talk in Real Time. I'm Kathy, or Scully this time.
Hi, and I'm Jess. We meet up about every 6 days to explore the current human design transits and how they're actually showing up in our lives. And we'd love for you to join us.
We're talking energy in the moment, what we're feeling, what we're noticing, what the transits are stirring up inside us and all around us. And maybe we'll talk aliens today.
Definitely. So, whether you're joining us live or listening later, we're really glad you're here.
Let's get into it.
Get into it.
The truth is out there. Oh, I'm wondering if I'm making another reference that Jess isn't going to get because she's too young. Do you know the X-Files?
Yes, I do know what the X-Files are.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, the X-Files was this show that was iconic, like what, in the 90s, I think it was, maybe early 2000s still. And Mulder always said everything was always aliens, and it usually was, but Scully, Special Agent Scully, was the FBI. They were both part of the FBI that was meant to investigate paranormal. And so the catchphrase was the truth is out there. They're always looking for the truth and looking to uncover like the things that the government was hiding and all of that stuff. But Scully was always very logical and she always had alternative explanations for everything and really paid attention to the details. And I feel like she really exemplifies the energy of gate 62, which is our conscious sun today. So that's what I'm doing. And for like as long as I can, I didn't have an appropriate wig. She has red hair and it's about this long. And the only red-haired wig I have has long hair with bangs that just wasn't going to cut it. So plus I'm already dying sitting outside because the truth is out there in the woods, right? That's where we would have the aliens and stuff. So I'm sitting in my
Mm.
yard and maybe we'll get some extraterrestrial visits while I'm sitting
Mm.
here. What do you think? And
Yeah,
I'm
see something.
dying to understand the mysterious nature of your um, inner truth here today.
Oh, it's so funny. And it's so devastatingly sad. I took so long playing this morning. I had so much fun putting this makeup on. So today I'm doing the Priestess energy. And look at this. You ready? Hold on. You ready for this? Look at this thing.
I love that.
It's so much fun.
I think I need that dress actually just in my life.
I know, isn't it amazing? So this is actually one of my best friends, Amy Lee Westerfeld. She did a photo shoot with this, and I was visiting her. And I was like, oh, that's such a fun dress. She's like, I'll never wear it again. And so she ended up giving it to me. And I was like, I'll totally play in this sometime. And it was so perfect for today because she's a channel. So yeah, so Gate 61, Inner Mystery. So I'm going for the priestess look here.
Right?
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. And I would totally wear that in a heartbeat. In fact, it's so funny because total side note here, but my husband and I have been watching this show on HBO called Hacks.
Mhm.
And I forget the woman's name who plays the comedian who's the main character. Her name on the show is Deborah Vance, but I forget the actress's name. And she's always wearing all this really cool leopard stuff. And I'm like, I need some more leopard stuff in my wardrobe. I have a couple of things, don't get me wrong. I have some cute shoes and I have two dresses, but nothing
Mm.
like that dress. So
Mm.
anyway,
Actually, yeah, that's perfect. We're going to be going to Shania Twain concert soon. I wonder because she's very leopard print, so maybe.
cool. Yeah, maybe you can get some cowboy boots finally to wear with it.
Yes, yes. I needed to get those gold cowboy boots.
Well, you can order them. My daughter ordered my orange ones for me when I came home from Austin without them. That was my
Yeah,
Mother's
I
Day.
remember. Oh, so
So
cool.
anyway, we are going to be talking about the transits here. And if you're watching in the group and you want to join us there, that's super. But if you'd like to jump on the Zoom call, the link is pinned. So please feel free to hop on in and spend some time this beautiful Sunday morning with us. And yeah, so I know that you were so busy with your makeup, you said you needed a minute to get the screen share there.
I
So let
got
me
it.
know you're ready.
Oh, it's there. It's there. It's
You're so
ready.
good at multitasking. You'd think you were a Manny Jen.
Doing all the things. I love it.
Yeah, so today we've got the sun in gate 62. which is, like I said, it's known as the gate of details. It's also been referred to as the, not as a technical name, but it's spoken about as the name of the gate of naming things. So
Mhm.
this is where the idea of, like I think that should be called chair. I think that should be called leopard print, right? We name the things through the energy of this gate, and it's on the throat center and it points towards the ajna. And I do not have this gate to find, but I have so much experience with this gate because this gate is my husband's conscious sun. My husband's birthday
Mhm.
is Thursday, and he is a gate 62 line 5. So when we get to that, I'll be certainly having things when we get to that line. So I've been reflecting on my blog, as I always do, about how this energy has played out for me. And it's been really interesting to do that reflection, as it always is, because I've realized how much I've amplified this energy. And as often happens, the first ways that we amplify things are the shadows, right? So gate
Mhm.
62 in Gene Keys is known to have a very bizarre sounding shadow. People are always like, how is that a shadow? But it's the shadow of intellect, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And so if you think about that, that's when, we just think we're a freaking know-it-all. Right? Where our way is always the right way. There cannot possibly be aliens out there, Mulder. There's no explanation for it. Oh, and then my FBI badge just fell off. So that I'm just stuck with tape on my lapel.
Mm.
Oh
Love
well.
it.
Okay, so I guess it means it's time to lose the blazer as well soon. So, it's all about details though, paying attention to the details.
Mhm.
And there's this energy here that's so, I can really see how much of the 30 plus years that I've been with my husband, we'll be married 30 years in February, but how much of it I have amplified that energy in not always the best way. Sometimes it is this energy of, I think this, you know, very much I think, doesn't matter. I don't, not what do you think? It's very much here's here's how it is, right?
Mhm.
And so it's been really interesting to notice how that's starting to shift as I have more awareness about it, right? And
Yeah,
but it's important energy. But as always, I know do you have your little mandala thing there?
I do.
I'm gonna
I
take
do.
this
And
off.
aren't you proud of me? I stopped sharing before you had to ask. Look at this.
You're so good.
I
Right?
know.
Um,
It
yeah,
takes
before
me
I
a
have to
minute.
dry clean. I don't want to have to dry clean this blazer just because of so
Sitting
okay.
outside.
Yeah, so we've lost the blazer already.
I
We made
love it.
8 minutes or something. Um, okay, so it's, grounded in this energy of gate 61, which is individual. The 62 is logical collective energy, but
Mhm.
61 is this individual energy.
Yeah.
And so it's like before we're talking about what we think, one, we need to go inward,
Mhm.
right? So when we are reacting and saying what we think from a place that hasn't grounded in that energy,
Yep. Right
like
here.
someone like me with a individual emotional wave might tend to inadvertently do in the heat of the moment, right? I think we should do it this way, right?
Mhm. And I love that you bring that up too, because all of the throat gates, they have like a little thing that they say. And for 62, that's the thing, it's I think, right?
Right. Yeah.
The strength of it. Yeah. So looking here at the mandala, there's just something really beautiful to see that whole progression. So 62, the sun over here, we're in the quarter of civilization here. And so this is really that purpose fulfilled through form. And then over here on the opposite side, we have the earth, that grounding. So reminder, they're on the opposite sides, the earth and the sun. That's 61. And that is in the quarter of mutation, which is purpose fulfilled through transformation. So feeling those different energies and also really noticing, right now, this shift that we've had, because we just came out of the root center with the sun and the earth energies. And so that pressure, that pulse of movement, now we're in a different kind of pressure here in our grounding, as we've moved on up to the head.
Yeah.
And, having the channel defined here as well, just noticing that pressure in what we're experiencing. And Ra talked about these when you have a hanging gate, especially like the 61, the gates of madness. Like these can make you feel mad. And having that about 70% of people have that undefined head, right? So noticing that not self theme where, you're trying to find all of those answers, trying to know the unknowable, and especially with that 61 right now activated, feeling that pressure. And with that pulse, there's that pulse of it's a knowing, right? And you can't like force a knowing. Whereas if you have like logic, you can say, well, logically, I can kind of form an answer where it's like, this happened before, this was the pattern. I can see like the trajectory. Maybe this is what's going to happen. With knowledge, it's kind of like, for me, it feels like I twiddle my thumbs and just like wait for that answer, but also just acknowledging there is this pulse, there is this pressure where you're feeling this need. I need to know the unknowable. I need to find the depths of it. I need to go deep into this, right? So just noticing and having grace with yourself. If you don't have the 61 normally defined in you right now, seeing how that's showing up for you.
Yeah. I'm the only one of the three in my household who do not have that gate defined. My
Mhm.
my husband has it obviously as his conscious earth, and my daughter has it as her south nodes, both of her south nodes, which I've always thought it was cool that her nodes are my husband's sun and earth, right? Like, isn't that like
Yeah.
and actually my nodes are her design sun and earth, and his nodes are her conscious sun and earth. So it's like
So interesting.
it
Yeah.
really feels like there's so much karma, and we're definitely meant to be all together, right? Which is really cool. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And the nodes there, that's something that came up yesterday that was kind of interesting when we were in Austin, how Chetan was talking about if you have, I mean, this is not related to the transits, but just an interesting side note that when you have different nodes on your conscious side and your unconscious, sometimes you have them in the same gate for some people, but sometimes they're different. And so he was speaking to that, like, you've done the karma and you're just finishing out that last little bit and you're stepping into something new when you have the two different ones, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Cool lens to look at that through. Um, yeah, did you want to talk about anything else on here before I put it away?
No, just well, maybe just, remind people that we're continuing to have this energy of the 64 and the 47. As a
Mm.
collective, we all have that defined right now because we've got Mars in 64, but notice it's in line 5, which means it's going to be wrapping up and then it's moving on. And I know where it goes next, but right at the top of my head, I'm not having it come to me, so it'll come later. Um,
Mars?
yeah, Mars is moving, and I forget what goes after 64 in the month. I think it actually goes into 47 next. Um, and then we have something's going into 47 this week. And I think that's what happens with the 64, is it goes into 47. But
Mm.
um, and then also, the 47 obviously is coming from our south node. The other thing that I know we're going to talk about, and we can just mention here so we don't have to keep pulling up the transit report, is that we have Saturn just went um, retrograde yesterday, and that's in gate 25, which is on the identity center. And that's also where Neptune is retrograde currently. So when planets are retrograde, that means they're taking us back through the energy that we've just experienced. And so that is like, okay, let's slow down, let's back up. Where do we need to just kind of dial into these lessons and these themes in a way that we haven't before? And
Mm.
remember, can you hear that plane?
No.
Okay, good. Um, it's a plane. It's not a spaceship. I told her
Yet,
that is an
yet.
airplane. That's not a spaceship. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, okay. So, but gate 25 is asking us, to remember that innocence is our natural state, and it's this real connective place of oneness, right? Connecting to everyone and everything in this really deep, beautiful way. And so looking at, where am I disconnecting myself from other people, from the innocence of life, right? So those are on the identity center. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything else we want to point out on here that we're going to talk about. Um, I don't think so at the moment. So you can remove the screen share, Jess.
Yes, absolutely. And so just real quick, I looked it up. Mars is changing in 3 days to 47.
Yeah, I was right. I remembered.
Yes. Yeah. And so that's that channel of um, abstraction. Sorry, it took me a second there. I was like, what is that? Realizing, right? The 47 is the
Yeah,
real thing, is where it's
yeah,
moving into.
yeah. So anyway, so how does this gate 61, how do you feel this play out in your life in general? Because it's tell me again what it is. I knew this, but
My chart, it is my 61 is my Venus.
conscious Venus.
Conscious Venus, yeah. And
So
so, yeah, so for me, I think for me, it's been a level of patience. It's been a big teacher of patience, because sometimes you just get these beautiful insights, these beautiful knowings, and like when you know, you know. Like there's just no way to like explain it other than it's just like there, right? And sometimes I try to find it, and sometimes I try to connect into it and make it happen and force it to happen, and that can feel really frustrating, you know? So really just allowing that pulse of it, I spoke to before, there is that pulse in this pressure of what's coming through, and that knowing will land when it's the right timing. So for me, it's been a big lesson in trusting in the perfection of timing, trusting in, knowing that it's going to land when it's ready to land versus seeking, because if you're seeking the unknowable constantly, right, you can drive yourself crazy. And that's one of the shadows of this, is to really go into this place where that becomes your obsession. Like, I have to find this answer. I have to find the answer, but maybe the answer's not there yet. Right. Which
yeah,
is so funny. I pulled a card this morning from Rebecca Campbell's deck, and it said, wait.
which, which deck? We
Which
have
one is
several of
that?
them.
It's the blue one. It's with like the pink and
The light, the darker
Starseed,
light.
sort of
Okay,
Starseed one.
okay,
Yes. And so it
yeah,
said wait, and it said the tapestry hasn't been fully formed yet. So it's like waiting before you go through this portal. And that's a piece of that, feels like that 61 energy for me. Because when you have this insight, it's just so beautiful. Just this inner knowing. It's like this piece of like divine love that lands within you. And you're just like, it feels so good that you would want it there always, right? But just knowing that it doesn't come through always, and just trusting in the perfection of it'll be there when it's there and when it's ready.
yeah. I just wanted to stop and say hi to Jillian and hi to Valerie, who are both watching in the group and saying hello. I always love
Hi.
to have you guys here. Valerie, I think you get the prize for the most loyal viewer. Told us
Yes.
last time that she's seen everyone, she said, I think. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really beautiful energy. And I can see how that plays out for you and how you do, relationships and values that really like going inward and trusting what's there. Because, in quantum human design, Dr. Parker always talks about the the different questions of the gates of the head center, right? And so the gate 61 is why.
Hmm.
Why is this happening? Why are they doing this? Why? So that can be, you know, um, you know, you think about the little kid, right? You what is the second word that any child learns, right? First they learn no, and then they learn why.
Mine was
Right?
ma, ma.
Okay, yeah, that too, mom or dad, of course. But like
Yeah.
as far as like, names or
Yeah.
names of your pets or whatever, but they learn no and they learn why. Why?
Hmm.
It's time to go to bed. Why? No or why? That's all you get, right? And it can make us crazy and then we want to be like, because I told you so, right? Which
Yeah.
is the old school thing. It's funny. I keep seeing all these reels where kids are asking, where parents ask the kids to complete these sentences and like,
I saw those. I
and
did that with
the
Lily.
kid,
It was so cute. Yeah, the old school like traumatic like parenting, like do this because I said so, or like whatever those things were
Right,
like,
yeah, yeah.
if you want to cry, I'll give you something to cry about, but the parents
Right.
say like if you cry and then the kid
If you want
finishes
to
it,
cry, I'll, and then the kids
and
are,
then
and they'll be
yeah,
like,
yeah, it
I'll
was
hug you.
so
And they'll
sweet,
say,
my heart.
I'll hug you and stuff like that. And you're like,
Yes. Yes, that's yeah, Lily was like, I'll give you snuggles. And I was like, oh.
right.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought about that when as we were saying it. But yeah, this inner truth, this sincerity. And so I was starting to touch before about this retrograde energy. And I feel like it's interesting, especially in the energy of these gates, to really look at it because we can really go inward and find these answers in ourselves in a new, deeper way
Mhm.
because of these retrogrades in gate 25. And right now we've got um, three of the four outer planets in retrograde, right? Because we've got Pluto retrograde in gate 41, and then we've got Neptune and Saturn retrograding in gate 25. And Uranus, I think, goes retrograde in the beginning of September. I just looked it up. But
Oh.
and that happens, I think every year they go retrograde. But because those all of the outer planets have been shifting signs, for many of these are our first retrogrades in a new sign. So that can be a little bit more of an extreme difference, right? So you're going to feel this energy differently than if it was in the sign before. So anyway, just something to be aware of. There's a lot of stuff where we might be feeling differently. And there's also been all this, I don't know if you've been feeling all this energy. I looked at the Schumann resonance, not the residence, as I always try mistake it, the Schumann resonance, and it was been off the chart this week, like the day of the full moon. It was insane. So there's been all of this energy frequency stuff that's out there, and it's the word on the street in the spiritual communities is these are all like light codes coming through, and we're getting all this like DNA upgrades. So that's kind of cool when you think about it. So when Saturn goes retrograde and you're feeling like stuff starting to like come back up, like maybe a lesson or something, um, really lean in a way that you can say, okay, how can I find the lesson here? Because the more you just get into um, resenting the lesson, the harder the lesson has to become to come through to you, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
there's all this stuff going on that's really happening for our greatest expansion.
The
And
way, yeah, I really love to think about retrogrades is, thinking about like whatever it is for you. For me, it's like this bridge. And it's like we've built this bridge and we've gone through this gate, we've gone through this energy and we've built this bridge. And now we're just going back to test it and we're going to like walk across, we're going to tap on different spots and make sure it's like structurally sound before we start taking cars and taking people and doing things on this bridge. So it's a gift. Yes, we're going back on what we've already built, but it's such a beautiful part of the process, to check and make sure that it is structurally sound, that it is ready for what you're about to bring through on this bridge.
yeah. And this bridge is gate 25, which we talked about the energy of it a little bit, but it's also, as we've said before, this is the only gate that is in the design of everything, whether it be inanimate objects. So my glass, my water, my dog, my plant, all of them have the receptor for gate 25, just like all of us do. And
Yeah. And just for anybody who doesn't know, 25, that's the universal love.
yeah, right. That's what we were talking about before. So that part. So that gate 25 on the identity center, and that is an open gate for me. I have the gate across from it, gate 51. My husband has gate 25. So that's a big theme in that electromagnetic. And it was interesting um, when I had my relationship reading with Carola Eastwood, Chetan Parkin's wife. She was saying that of the 8 electromagnetic connections that my husband and I have, that was the one that she singled in on as like being really like powerful. So it's a powerful energy right now. And I'm a little distracted at the moment because I have my 14-year-old dog is right here by me, like kind of panting on my leg, and she's having a hard weekend. So this is a little bit of a hard time for us here with our doggo. So anyway, that's another reason why I'm outside, not just because it's a beautiful day and it went really well with the Truth is Out There theme, but mainly all of that evolved from me being able to be out here and be connected with my dog because I'm the only one home at the moment, and that way she's not alone at a time when she's struggling. So
I love that. If that's not love, right?
yeah, she's a sweetie. I
Beautiful.
don't know if I can show you her. Look at can you see her? There we
Oh yeah. Hi, baby. Oh,
go.
he's so sweet.
She's a sweetie.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right. So do you want to go through the lines?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to start with 61 or 62?
Let's start with 62. And while we are, anybody who's watching the group, do you guys have these energies in your chart? Do you have the 62, the 61, or maybe the 25, or one of the connecting gates for any of those? So go ahead and
Yeah.
drop it in the comments. So, okay, 62,
62. Line 1 is routine.
right? So being practical, proceeding towards what is attainable and aligned. If you confine yourself to essential details in life, you are well prepared for many challenges. So,
Mm.
I do want to back up though, because before we get into that, I don't think we went through the full thing. Gate 62, we said earlier, is the shadow of intellect, and
Mhm.
that can express in either obsessive or pedantic, right?
Mhm.
And then the gift is precision. And the highest expression, the mastery, or what Gene Keys calls the city, is impeccability.
Mhm.
So, and yeah, so line 2,
Line 2. So gate 62, preponderance of the small, the gate of details. Line 2 is restraint.
right. Being sensible, reaching out to give and receive aid. You will always find that needed assistance is available if you persevere diligently in your own way,
Mm.
right? So that line 2, doing what comes natural,
Mhm.
persevering, not changing it all based on everybody else. So line 3.
Line 3, discovery. I mean, that's the perfect explanation of line 3.
Right. Being unassuming, recognizing the need to downplay a tendency for overconfidence. Your good judgment, common sense, and preparedness always prevail in difficult situations.
Mhm. Yeah, there's a piece of that resiliency, right?
Hmm.
In that third line, just in general, to what we consider like failure, right? That built-in just like ability to go through and be here to test and to make and break bonds and try new experiences.
Right? Okay, line 4.
Line 4. I don't even know how you say this word. Asceticism?
Asceticism. Yeah, the ascetics. There was actually a whole movement in probably like, I don't know when it would have been, a long time ago, like before the Middle Ages, called asceticism, and it was a type of like religious group where they would all be very focused on the energy of ascetics, which is um, very like, well, let's read this and that will probably explain it a little bit. So, oh, it doesn't say it on here in your book. That's right. So asceticism is like very a simplicity and being alone. Like, I don't know. I guess I don't really remember. After all that, I'm like, I know what it is, but I don't really know how to. I know there was a group, but to try to explain it, I would have to probably look it up. So,
Yeah, aesthetics. I mean, aesthetics makes sense, right? It's like, what does something like look like? What does it feel like? What is the aesthetics? What is like the feeling? What is like, how do you decorate your room? Kind of, it's the details of it.
yeah, okay. That, but I know that the aesthetic,
I want to
hard for me to say,
I want
but
to Google it.
yeah, Google aestheticism, that word. And
Okay, here we go. Is a lifestyle characterized by the practice of self-denial? Oh, self-denial.
Right. Yeah. It's not
Abstinence
about,
from
it's
worldly
simplicity.
pleasures.
Right.
Often, so I had it backwards. Okay, abstinence from worldly
This could be an
pleasures, often
aesthetic.
for spiritual or religious reasons.
They're thinking of,
Deliberately limiting or renouncing material possessions. No, thank you. Physical comforts and sensual indulgences.
yeah. So I knew it had to do with simplicity, but then I was doubting myself because, yeah,
Mm,
they were the people who would, I believe, would flog themselves with the cat of nine tails too. Like they would, you know, like wear camel hair, um, coats because, or they didn't want to be comfortable in this life. Very
okay.
odd thing.
Yeah.
But you know, okay. So I probably just totally made that all said that all wrong. So if there's any scholarly types out there who understand it better, I know I studied it at one time. You know, it was one of those things that in a big course that I did, where we learned about the history of the church, the Christian church. We learned about that, but it was like, you know, a paragraph, a chapter. So it's somewhere in the open ajna. Okay,
Pull it out.
right? So that was line 4, right?
Yes.
Okay, being patient is what Chetan pulls out of this. Being watchful for principled opportunities. You accept the need to be cautious, especially in situations when you see yourself as right. So
Mm,
that feels different.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
That was
caution piece of
interesting.
I think, but hold on, let's like take another look at that. Yeah.
It feels different than what the,
Aestheticism. Yeah.
yeah. So sometimes I like to, I'm gonna have to go read what they say about that in the line companion for line 4. Um,
Let's look at, I have Neutrino up here. Always love to look at Neutrino line
yeah,
four.
what line do you have there, your 61 in?
My 61 is 5.
Yeah. Oh, that's what my husband has too. So, but I don't think it's not going to be here. Neutrino app has the same thing as this book. So I've got it right here because
Oh,
I have
deep.
noticed.
Okay. Aestheticism. Does it have aestheticism? When you get to the upper triagram, you get to the fourth line, to the line of externalization of being fixed. You also get to the beginning of the transpersonal process. So the 62-4 is well aware of the fact that there is an opinion that is coming at it from the 16th hexagram, that there's an organized concept that it has to deal with and that it has to bring detail to. It is not like the first 3 lines. It is not simply caught up in its own process of providing detail, but there's a recognition that the detail has to do with opinion. It has to do with something that is coming from the outside. The first line always represents the foundation. When you're dealing with detail, the first line is very important because it will establish the groundwork, the framework upon which any formula can be built. When you get to the fourth line, you get to the ability to project out into the world in the sense of externalizing that basic formula. But because there is a limitation in this, because the fourth line is transpersonal, it recognizes the difficulty inherently genetically. It recognizes the difficulty of how long it takes to get the detail right. This line is called aestheticism. The perfected, the perfected aesthetic. Why am I struggling with this word? Aesthetic withdrawal in the pursuit of harmony and simplicity, where outside dangers do not exist and there is time to pursue inner meaning in detail. Don't bother me. I am thinking. This is the fourth line. Don't ask me to present a paper for your journal because I have not finished my research. These are people that are always busy doing their research. Leave me alone. I have not come up with the answer yet, and I will not talk to you until I have the detail. If you
Right?
stop bothering me while I'm in the middle of this process, you are really going to disturb me, and you will ruin my harmony if you will not let me finish this.
Yeah. So I think what was happening is you were confusing it with the word aesthetic, which has
Aesthetic, the actual word, it's
AE. Well, no,
completely.
there's a, yeah, AESTHETIC, which
Yeah,
is about beauty and art,
yeah.
um, versus, which is easy to do. There's similar looking words, and we don't really talk about
No,
aesthetic
no.
because we can't say it.
I can't say, I don't know why. My body's like, why can't I say this word?
Okay,
Aesthetic. Like, it's
so
not a.
it's really funny because, when you think about gate 62 being the gate that names things,
Mhm.
and here's this line in there of this thing that's named that we can't say. So since we can't say it, you're definitely not supposed to follow that way of life.
No, everything in my being, my is like, don't say that. We want nothing to do with it. And
Well,
I
I
like
think
my
it's our one
comfort.
eight. We both have that 1/8, right? And that
Yeah,
gate one is all about, I mean, there's so much about aesthetics that's
yeah.
important to us in
So
that.
important. Yeah, I'm like, please don't take that away. This is not a word. I'm not even going to say it.
Right, exactly. So,
Oh, that's
yeah, that's
funny.
funny. Just trust that there's a reason we can't say it.
Right?
So, and then line 5, which is what you have in your Venus, or not in your Venus
No,
is
so I don't
in
have
line 5.
62. I don't have
No, it's
62. I have
61.
61.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
yeah, we're in 62. Sorry.
Line
Yes.
five is metamorphosis.
Right. Okay. So line 5 is what my husband has as his conscious son.
Mhm.
So, being considerate, planning, preparation, and performance. When everything is in place, there comes a time of identifying when and how things proceed. And if that doesn't sum him up, I don't know what does, because that man, um, he was never an Eagle Scout, but he would have been a great one because he's always prepared for everything. And this really, being watchful for, the planning, the preparation, being considerate in how he does it, that's very much who he is. So it's very interesting to look at it that way. So line 6, I almost turned the page like, okay, we got to him. We're done. Move on.
And done. We're done. Well,
Line 6.
technically, the sixth line is bridging to the next one. So it's
But it's not bridging to
good.
61 though. It's bridging to 6.
No, no,
Yeah.
not to 61, but it is
Right.
looking, it's peeking over. So line
Right.
six is self-discipline.
Right. Accepting limits, recognizing practical limitations in all your endeavors. You need to exercise reserve if you are going to interact with the scope of your abilities.
Mm.
So, yeah, interesting to pause and reflect on that. Recognizing practical limitations in all your endeavors. You need to exercise reserve if you're going to interact with this. Okay, so, taking that step back to really see the full potential, right? Yeah. Okay, so now we can do line 61. Which
61. So
that's
inner truth, the gate
or
of,
we
hold on, wait. Gate of mystery. Hold on,
right.
wait. There we go. Gate of mystery.
So
There's a
in
reason I.
quantum human design, she refers to this gate as the gate of wonder. And I really love thinking of it that
Oh,
way too.
that feels
Right?
good.
Because that
Yeah.
really speaks to how to experience this energy with this I wonder
Hmm.
instead of why, right? So
Yeah, there is
um
such a big why, and that's in the gene keys too. So if
yeah,
you look at the gene keys, it's psychosis. And that's what Ra was talking about as well. It can be that gate of madness where you have the psychosis. You're like, this thing, what is this thing? And then we have on the two ends in the shadow side, we've got the disenchanted, where you're just like, this is not fun. This is not it. Where's the magic? You're completely disenchanted. And then on the other side, the more external one is the
I know
fanatical.
you just froze up for a minute. So
Oh, did
you're
I freeze?
yeah, at
Is
least
the
for
other
me.
side is fanatical, which is where you're so deeply in the mystical, you're so deeply in that space that you're not actually here in the world, which is also interesting because if you look at the hexagram for the 61, it's yang, yang, which is solid line, and then it's yin, yin, and yang, yang. And so Ross spoke to this about that it's that inner mystery is in between. It's that yin in between the two yangs. It's like sandwiched in between there, and that yang is like the Maya that we're living in, but it's still part of the process. You can't get so lost in just trying to find that yin and just connecting into that. And that's where you become that fanatical, where you're just like, I need to know why. I need to know why. Whereas that's where, like sitting and being like, oh, if there's UFOs, right? Instead of people that are like, I'm going to sit here and stare out at my woods until I see that UFO.
Or I see it as the people in the human design community who say, this is how you must do human design, right?
Yes. Yes.
Where, here is this thing that is all about questioning, knowing yourself,
Differentiation.
experimenting in a way where you learn to know who you are in
Hmm.
this beautiful um, experimental way of sitting with the questions, feeling into what does this mean? And instead, you have people who are like, you're a projector, you can't do that, that sort of energy that feels
Yeah.
very fanatical. But then where we find the gift in the inspiration and then move to the
Mhm.
highest expression of
Inspiration.
sanctity.
Yes, that inspiration. And that's really the core of the 61. It's that inspiration, but it's this piece of allowing, noticing that pulse. It is a pulse and it's going to come through when it's the right time. And then that takes you to, from inspiration, that city of sanctity, which is that holiness, that connection in with something divine and greater, which is so, yeah, so beautiful.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
noticing, really again, noticing with this one, where am I getting stuck? It's a beautiful question to ask that why, but where am I getting stuck in that, where I'm becoming like fanatical or going, oh, I don't have this now. I'm just completely disenchanted with all of that and finding the magic still here as my thing is like falling down.
Aw. Is that a necklace? Is that what you did? Was a necklace?
It is a necklace, yes.
That's awesome. Okay. So gate one, I mean
Mhm.
gate 61, line one,
Yes. And that is occult knowledge.
having perception, quietly allowing your psychic attunement. You have the means to probe deeply into some of the inner workings of life.
Yeah.
Right? So these I've always remember being like, oh, 61 line one. Those are going to be the people who are going to be really open to human design and other things like that. But
Or
obviously
not.
right, or not. And that's what I've
Yeah.
realized is that's really not a great indicator.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
yeah. So line two.
Line two, natural brilliance.
Ah, shining light. Finding the thread of truth in anything. You either have the inner development to contain your compelling inspirations or not,
Mm,
right?
or not.
Interesting.
I always love that.
Or not, right? And
Yeah.
usually, a lot of times those things are very set. No one else is going to change that in you,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Line three, excuse me, interdependence.
Hmm. So Chaitan says remaining inner dependent, staying true in your own life. You trust yourself in all interactions while acknowledging how easily you are affected by others. So, um, so that radical self-trust, even though you know how much other people matter to you and impact your way of being,
Hmm.
staying true to yourself in that, right?
Hmm.
So, line four.
Line four, research.
Hmm. Holding higher truth, following your clarity to find resonant truth in others. You seek the truth in any situation, whether you are inspired from within or from other people.
Hmm.
Okay, and then now we get to your Venus and my husband's conscious Earth.
Hmm. And this is influence.
Being ingenuous, uniting everyone by interpreting truth innovatively. I love that idea of interpreting truth innovatively. You're like that almost sounds like a creative, like, well, it's almost true, right? But
Yeah.
it is a different way of looking at things, right?
Hmm.
Adding, abiding by your principles, you impart truth to others, whether they accept it easily or not.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And a big part of that for me in my being in my Venus, the way it feels for me. So Venus is about like things you love, things you find beauty in. And one of the ways that shows up for me is I love hearing people's inner truth for them and holding that space and being like, oh, what is it you believe for this? And while it might not be exactly what I believe, I love to hold that space and hear people's experience. Like, what is it for you? Like, really allowing them to dive deeply into, like, what is that magic? What is that thing for you? What is that place? What is that love, that connection? And having those conversations, I absolutely love it. Like, there's like a resonance, there's like a something inside of me when somebody shares their truth. Like, remember the one time you and I were talking and you said something, I was like, hold on, I need to write that down. About, it was something like, you're here to like fucking shine, and like you're beautiful. Like, you just said the sentence, and you said that, and that inner truth, like it lights something up in me hearing that in somebody else when they're sharing theirs, and like channeling from that place of love. And it feels like so good to me. It feels like a delicious dessert you've given me when you share when you share your truth. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. I don't remember exactly what you're talking about because I know there have been a few times I think I'm just talking and all of a sudden I see you typing what I'm saying.
I'm like,
And I'm like,
hold on.
well, that feels like pressure, but okay.
No, no, it's always so beautiful. Yeah.
Little truth bomb, little gate 39 provocation or something coming at you. Um, yeah, so okay, so this did we and then I closed the
And
book. Once again, I think we're done at line 5,
line 6, we're not here for you, right?
right?
Um,
I'm just worried about understanding you and my husband better. That's
oh, that's so funny. So line 6, we have appeal.
being insightful. Universal expressions of truth are not always recognized. Expressing your truth through personal experiences can inspire others, practically or not. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just want to speak to 61 as well. Pointing at this like you can see. I'm going to share the screen real quick. Close tabs, close tabs. With the 61 here, share. So the 61, we only have the 61 activated right now.
Right.
So if you don't have the 24, it's a different energy right there. So you're not actually designed to, so I have this whole channel, right? So I have that channel of awareness. So those people, it's to solve the mystery as well. So what we're experiencing right now is just that 61. So you're not, if you don't have that 24, it's not even to solve the mystery. It's just to enjoy the mystery for the mystery's sake. So really connecting in with that. There's another thing that comes through with the 61 for me is there's like this need for quiet. So I have this channel as well, right? That we talked about before, the channel of abstraction. And so with this right now that we have this collectively defined, there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of mental noise. There's a lot of thinking. And naturally, our minds are really just busy and there's a lot of thinking going on. But the 61 almost wants a silence. It almost wants like this piece of like, it wants all those thoughts to stop. It wants to get into that like meditative place of just like, I just need some quiet so that it can drop, it can land. I need to find that place. And so something else that really helps me is finding the thoughts and hearing the thoughts and going, ah, that's an interesting thought. Like you say, that interesting, and just hearing the thought, but not necessarily having to identify with it to find that place of silence, right? To find that little piece of peace, right, within you. Um,
Yeah.
that if you're feeling right now, you're like, my mind is so busy, especially if you have nothing activated up there normally. And if you're like, there's a lot of like mental pressure, there's a lot of thoughts, there's a lot of like ruminating, there's a lot of trying to like all these different things, and I'm trying to find answers like that's just the transit we're going through right now. So finding that peace within yourself and allowing yourself to connect in with whatever that meditation looks like for you, because there's different types of meditations too, right? There's like active body ones, like the yoga nidra. I love yoga nidra. I do yoga nidra where you go through like each part of the body and it calms it. For some people it's listening. With my very busy mind, chimes are really beautiful. Bells,
Mm.
sound bowls, stuff like that really, really helps. So potentially, like, let us know how it's feeling for you right now, and what is supporting you, noticing, whew, there's a lot here. And that could show up like anxiety too, a lot of that pressure of like, where and what do I do with all of this?
Yeah, it would be interesting. Maybe this would be a good question for us to put in the group, but even if you're listening to this on the podcast or watching it on YouTube, put in the comments, or you can always um, email us
Yeah.
It's me at kathybashanko.com. But I'm curious because both my husband and my daughter have, all three of us have undefined heads, and
Mhm.
both of them have hanging gate 61. And I do not, and I love to meditate, and neither of them say they can meditate. They
Mhm.
say they cannot shut the, and I've always said you just got to find the right way, try all these things. But it's I'm wondering people's experience with if you have the hanging gate 61 or if you have the full channel, how do you experience meditating? Is it easy for you? Is it something you found a way to do? Have you just given up on it?
Mhm.
I would love to hear what people said, not because I'm gonna, try to fix them or whatever, because I've really learned that's not my thing to do. I'm just curious here. It's just part of my own experiment of learning. I would love to know. And even if you don't have it, you know, if you have
Mhm.
trouble meditating, do you have
Yeah,
mind
that'll
gate?
be interesting to hear too, because with I have the that 6447 as well. Meditating, I thought for the longest time, I was like, there's something wrong with me. I can't meditate. Like I have such a problem getting into that calm, just listening and being calm. And then also my body's like, I want to be active and moving and doing things. So different aspects playing into that. And that's why things like the yoga nidra, where it's like that guided and like really calming your body. So
Yeah.
I've noticed when I do yoga, that it's more like dancing yoga. It's hot yoga, but you're allowed, like you do the forms, but you can move. I'm not good at like doing yoga and holding. So it's like you're doing something, but you get to like move your body through it. Um, After at the end of yoga, that's when I can find a moment of,
When you go into Shavasana.
yeah, the shavasana afterwards, like after having moved through everything and done everything, it takes a little bit for me.
Well, that was the whole, like what we traditionally know as yoga is a practice that was developed by yogis so that they could meditate better.
Yeah.
These are ways they move the energy in their body, also stretch their body so that, think about sitting cross-legged,
Mhm.
for hours. Or, some people, some
Horrible. That sounds horrible.
you know, like stand on their head to meditate, for a long time.
Yeah.
So, you would need to have certain ability to move and sit different ways. And I know as somebody who, like, as the older I get, the less I can even sit still on the couch, let alone, you know, the other night I was sitting with my dog at the top of the stairs. She was pacing, and I sat down like on the hardwood floor at the top of the stairs, kind of blocking it because I didn't want her to go down and to try to go down. And I kind of just like wound up with her kind of like flopping down on my lap, laying on one of my legs. And it was like 15 minutes. And I was like, okay, my body can't sit like this anymore. I just cannot move. So, like, the yoga is about being able to be still, like doing the things so that you can be still.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it is really interesting how the more we do that exercise afterwards, then we can be still and quiet our mind and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
So,
And my body knows. It's like,
right.
oh, wait, I know what I'm doing here. This is like, we're going to move the body, and there's so many thoughts. But by the end of it, it's like, okay, this is time right now where I know. Yeah. And float tanks. Oh my goodness. Those have been amazing. The high magnesium tanks that you close sensory
Mm,
deprivation. Your body just went,
never
ooh.
done one.
You're like, ooh,
It
those
sounds
are
great.
phenomenal. Yeah, where you lie and then you close them, and you can have no lights on or you can have little blue lights on, but there's like no noise in there. There's like very low like light or no light, and you're just kind of like floating in this like sensory tank. That is amazing for me to just go, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if anybody has any comments they want us to address, I feel like we pretty much covered this energy unless you have something else that you want to share.
Let me check. So Valerie has 24. Yes. Okay, perfect.
Oh, okay. So
So
yeah,
Valerie, you've got the whole channel right now, the channel of
well,
awareness.
you'll feel the whole channel, but
You'll feel, yeah,
yeah,
right now in
yeah,
the transit,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. So that
Um,
might feel like more pressure to you.
or yeah, we'd love to hear, Valerie, does that feel like it's flowing now? Does it feel like, you feel the mystery and now it's starting to realize it? Is it starting to like, how's that showing up? I'd love to hear that different nuance.
Right.
Jillian said, I don't have any of these gates in my chart, but feel there are lessons in this transit for me. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what do those lessons feel like? Does it feel like a little bit more like mental, a little bit more thoughts, a little bit more pressure up there? So interested
Yeah.
to hear.
And as a manifester, Jillian, I'm wondering if, the the energy of this transit might be really helping you to get more in touch with that internal nonverbal creative flow of manifestors that oftentimes the logical part of us stops and gets in the way of, right? And so maybe this like going inward to really find your inner truth can help you to do, because one thing we didn't really talk about with the gate 62 is, and with the gate 61, both of these are above the throat, right? And there is no motor above the throat. There
Mhm.
is nothing, even though we feel this pressure, there is nothing that's moving it outward until it is drawn out by others. So we have this, um,
62. So 62 is on the throat, but yeah, it's
yeah,
a
that's, I mean, I'm sorry, it's
yeah,
above
62.
the throat, it's above, but
It's
it's,
pointing up. Yeah,
yes,
it's
right, I
pointing
meant
up towards the
pointing, yeah.
ajna.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
So
it's,
it's up
so they're pointing upward, they're above the throat, so there is no motor up there.
here. Mhm.
And so this energy is expressed through others, through invitation, through it, even if you have the full channel, they're what's called projected channels, which means there is no motor to get it to the throat. So, um, and I wonder how you experience that, Jess, like this whole idea of I have this, all of this energy, but
Mhm. Yeah. So I think for me, it's those safe spaces that where there's some places where things just come through and I don't share it. I think there's a level of recognition from the person I'm with. Like I know I've shared stuff with you before and you're like, oh, that was like channeling. You just channeled
right,
something there. But there's already that recognition within our friendship. There's already
yeah,
the safety within our friendship. Um, because there have been times where stuff has come through and then I share it and then people question it and I'm like, but I can't explain it to you.
right,
Like
yeah.
I can't explain the like mechanics behind it of like, it's this because of this and this and this and this, the proof behind it. It's that, it's that mystical knowledge.
And
So
that's most of the chart, right? Because there's the inner standing that individual circuitry brings that is not really explainable to others. And then
mhm.
there's the collective energy that is the abstract circuitry, where that's just kind of a known.
Wacky. That's all, that's
Right?
me.
Yeah. So, that
Yeah.
leaves, tribal circuitry and, the logical energy are really the only things that seem to be explainable to anybody else, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So
even tribal circuitry doesn't always make sense, right?
yeah.
What's important to your tribe is not necessarily the same as what's important to my tribe.
Mhm.
And, if we are part of multiple tribes, there's sometimes different rules within them, you know.
Yes, and as a triple split, I mean, that's the thing with triple splits. I've noticed we have like different people. Like in high school, I was friends with all the different people. With
Right.
like even now in like human design, I'm like I'm friends with all the different people. You want to be friends? Let's be
There's
friends.
such a fourth line, right?
It could be fourth line too.
Fourth
There's
line
so many
triple.
different.
No, no, no. The fourth line triple split, they're going to know it, everybody, and have all these little groups, right? So,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I am going to say let's end this because I think my dog wants me to go let her in the house. So this seems like a good time to say peace out. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.